Welcome to Gutter Trash, episode 387, The Disappearance of Charley Butters by Zach Wharton. My name is Eric.
And I am Jason. That's right, I'm Jason.
Yeah.
What's up?
Oh, not much. I'm just super paranoid about this thing that's happening right now.
The way we're recording?
Yes. Normally, there hasn't been too much of an issue, but apparently when I updated my phone, everything got fucked up.
Oh.
So, who knows? Who knows?
I think it'll be fine. I have hope and positive intent.
Well, glad one of us does.
Well, this is exciting. It feels like it's been a while.
It has been a while.
Do you know how long it's been?
Almost 2 months.
Has it really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. The last episode, I put it up March 3rd, and it is almost May.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, sometimes we just gotta give the people what they want, and that's us not recording.
It's true. Nothing too dramatic happened this time.
Right?
We were just kind of...
Yeah. We got busy.
Yeah, just sometimes you need a break.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do appreciate all the listener who asked where we were. Thanks to all of him.
Yep. Why do we still do this?
It gives us an excuse to drink beer and talk about comics.
I'm not drinking beer.
We were drinking water out of a Dr. Doom pint.
That is true.
It's probably cooler than drinking beer out of a can.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
So you win, sir.
All right. Fair.
But, yeah. So we read a comic book.
Yeah, we did.
I almost remember it. Because I read it before we recorded the last episode.
Yeah, and I read it shortly after we recorded the last episode. And, have not reread it. I remember some stuff.
So I remember when the Beyonder shows up and he pulls all the heroes back in time.
Sure.
That was this book, right?
Yeah, that was this one. Okay. And then Spider-Man teaches him how to take a shit.
And the Human Torch gets high with some girl who speaks a different language.
Right.
Secret Wars by Zach Wharton. I would buy that. No, this is, a book by, I think he's a Canadian cartoonist named Zach Wharton. Worton.
Yeah. And also Zach, Z-A-C-H.
Yeah, there's an H, yeah.
Not the traditional spelling.
No.
Yeah. So I had never heard of him before, as with most of your picks.
Yeah. So I met this guy in Toronto at one of the small press conventions, and he had done a book that was, it was pretty cool. It had the exact same kind of artwork, but you could tell it was a much smaller production. Like it was, it was just like nicely done, but it was like stapled at home kind of thing.
Right.
And it was really cool, and I liked it a lot. I think it was called Curses, maybe, because this was like 10 years ago. And then I didn't hear much about him for a long time until he was doing a mini comic called Blood Visions from Charles Foreman's Oily comics. And that was really neat. I liked that. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a nice square bound graphic novel. Like he did it,
right?
Like he made a big boy book. So I wanted to check it out, and this is me checking it out.
All right. It was foisted upon me.
Yeah.
But I read it.
Yeah. I thought there was going to be more.
No.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Check back in 3 more months when we do another episode.
So you warned me when you picked the book that...
Oh, yeah, because you looked at the back cover.
Well, no, not about that.
Oh.
This is part 1 of a trilogy.
Yeah, right.
And you had warned me of that, and that there was that it ends in very much a way that just leads you to the next part.
Sure.
Which generally upsets me.
Right.
When I read that.
Like if it's a collected edition that doesn't feel like it has even, not necessarily like a perfectly tight knit ending, but
sure.
But just like the end of the definite end of a chapter.
Right. And this was no exception.
Mm-hmm.
It upset me.
Right.
Even though you warned me, even though I went in expecting that, it still upset me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind, like, if there's a graphic novel or a trade that, even if it has a bit of a cliffhanger, as long as it feels like there was a satisfying story and it kind of wraps, and then maybe there's like an epilogue that kind of leads you into the next thing.
Yeah.
But this one did kind of feel like it was just like, like a 400-page book, and we got the first 150 pages of it.
Right. Yeah, like, we recently read Gideon Falls, and, that was the first volume of, a multi-volume set, and that felt like, certainly there were no answers, to the series, main, conflicts or anything like that, but,
right.
But it felt like a satisfying read.
Yeah. It's like the end of a TV season.
Yes.
So like it leads you to the next season, but you're like, okay, that's the definitive end of this season.
Right. And this did not have that. So I'm going to try my best to not judge it based on that.
Right. Yeah, because that is, I would say that's not something we like.
No. Yeah.
Like not just like for the show. I mean, just in our casual reading.
Sure.
Like that's just kind of a thing where we prefer.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not like some rule that we decided upon. It's just the way that we both prefer things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah. I've read numerous trades and whatnot of books that just sort of dangle. Once they come to the end,
right?
Just like. Like make this somewhat satisfying. And,
right.
Hold on, I have a cat.
Oh yeah, there's a cat there.
Yep. All right, now there's a cat perched on my shoulder, and we're doing the show.
That's the way it always should be.
This is pretty great. Yeah.
So now you're okay with the ending.
Yep.
Now that you have a cat.
Yep. This book is great.
So yeah, it is part 1 of 3. I think each book has the name Charlie Butters in the title, but it's not like the Disappearance of Charlie Butters part 2.
No, yeah.
It's like each one is the something
Charlie Butters,
like the yoga workout of Charlie Butters or whatever. I forget. But so basically, who is this Charlie Butters for the listener here?
So as far as we know, Charlie Butters is a artist who had some success in the 60s.
Yeah, like late 50s, early 60s, yeah.
And basically sort of went mad.
Mm-hmm.
And just basically removed himself from society in order to focus entirely on his artwork.
Right.
And he built a cabin out in the woods. And
he kept these weird journals.
Yeah.
About his life and the things he would hear and see.
Right.
Because he kind of heard voices.
Yeah, I think so.
Talking to him about his art.
So basically he was just mentally ill.
Right.
Or maybe there was someone really after him.
That's true. But the weird thing about this book is even though it's kind of about him and titled about him,
right.
It's not really about him.
No, it's not.
That much.
In fact, it's about the dude that I did not expect this book to actually be about.
Right.
Once I started reading it.
Travis, I believe, what was his name?
I don't remember names except for Charlie Butters.
Yeah. It's right there on the cover, so it's hard to forget.
Right.
In other words, I looked it up because I couldn't remember the names. It's Travis, Mike, and a guy. Another guy.
there's 4 guys total.
Yeah.
So there's a black metal band,
Right?
and a videographer, and they're basically traipsing through the woods to film a black metal music video.
And I love that opening. I think that's a great way to start every book. Like, if the new Batman starts that way, I'll be happy. Yeah, it opens up with, like, these dudes in corpse paint marching through the woods with a camera, and you're like, what?
And so while these guys are out making a horrendous black metal video, they stumble upon this cabin in the woods, and that's how they find out about Charley Butters. And
yeah, it's like long since abandoned.
Right.
He's long since dead.
Yeah.
But they
as far as we know.
Yeah. But they come across like just a library of his home journals, like all of his musings and thinkings while he was in the woods here.
Yeah. And then Travis, I guess, is our guy.
Our main guy.
The guy who becomes our main guy.
He's kind of like the reluctant drummer for the black metal band. Or is he the drummer? Or singer?
Singer. He's a singer. Yeah. He does not necessarily want to be in a black metal band.
No. In fact, I remember this because I loved the scene. I guess apparently he worked at a record store with Mike, one of the other guys in the band, and Travis was kind of making fun of black metal and like spoofing it, and Mike thought he was so good at it that he took it seriously, and they started a black metal band together. Yep. So like Travis didn't mean to, he just kind of fell into it.
Right. And it seems like for a point of time he was pretty much into it, like, because it was just goofy fun.
Yeah.
But Mike has rules.
Yeah.
The Z.
Right? Yeah, like things they have to do and can't do.
Right, because they're in a black metal band.
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing like sucking the fun out of everything once you started implementing,
Oh, yeah, a list of rules.
Right.
That's why we never made rules.
Exactly.
This podcast.
That's why our black metal band is so successful.
It is. Yeah. I like some music from every genre, but I couldn't tell you a black metal band that I like. Except for Living Colour. They're pretty good. No,
That's an old and still terrible joke.
I still love it. No, I mean, like, every time I listen to, like, a metal mix CD or something, and there's a black metal band, it just kind of has this, it does feel like this Mike guy. Every time, it feels like the fun is just not there.
Right.
And, like, for me, metal either has to be fun, preferably, or just somehow really strange.
Right.
And black metal doesn't sound like that because it sounds very regimented. Like, it all kind of sounds the same.
There are so much black metal that sounds exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care how much variety in corpse paint there is, all the dudes look the same.
Right? Yeah. It almost has, like, some sort of, like, there's some sort of influence there. I can't tell if it's classical music or something. Like, it's really, like, operatic sometimes.
Sometimes. It depends on, like, how good the band is. Because I've heard a lot where it's just, their band is terrible. Right. Like, they barely know how to play. It's weird. I watched, there's a black metal documentary that I watched a couple months ago, and it wasn't very good. I think it was like Until the Light Fades or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it focused on 2 guys specifically. One was the guy who was eventually he is Burzum.
Okay.
Who, was a Nazi, and he was convicted of murder and was in prison for like 20 years. And then the other guy was like, I think he was not Mayhem, but like some other like big influential black metal band.
Whitesnake? Whitesnake?
Yeah, that's them. And it was all about basically how that guy who wasn't in prison, like, was basically shunned by the black metal community because, you know, he occasionally would, like, listen to, like, NXS.
Oh, wow.
Or,
but would he wear corpse paint when he did? Because that's okay. I think that's fine. I mean, if he's teasing his hair out and, like, doing eyeliner and, like, rouge,
sure,
you know, David Bowie style or whatever, maybe going a little too glam. But if he's got the bullet belt and the wrist spikes, he can listen to Michael Bolton. It doesn't matter.
That's what I think, personally. You know, I'm on that guy's side.
Right?
Although, ultimately, when you watch the documentary, you're like, I'm not on anybody's side here.
Right. Yeah. I know the only time I ever had friends that were into black metal were friends that were, like, just a little weird and kind of racist.
Right.
And, like, kind of moving towards that.
There's a very strong racist element to black metal.
Or it was, like, people that just... like ironic, or they just liked things because they were extreme in a goofy way. Like they legitimately liked it, but they thought it was funny how extreme it was.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Like, I can and have listened to black metal before, not for long stretches of time. There's some that I've enjoyed, but, you know, I'm 1,000% aware of just how stupid everybody looks and is. And
I like the spectrum of metal, like I like everything that you would call heavy metal. Like, I like, you know, like Judas Priest and Dying Fetus and, like, everything in between.
Right.
I think black metal is my least favorite, like, subsection of metal that there has ever been. Not just currently.
Right.
Like I think it's just below nu metal. Nu metal.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, and that's pretty low.
Sure.
I think it's just under that. It's just under, like, Limp Bizkit.
So Limp Bizkit is just above, like, Burzum.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I prefer to never hear either.
Sure.
But if I had to hear one, it would probably be Limp Bizkit.
Because you do it all for the nookie.
Yeah, I do it for the nookie. I'm going to go down to Sunoco later and see if that show's going to happen. Oh. Weren't we talking about a comic book?
Maybe. I don't know.
So yeah, they're this black metal band, and they're like kind of infighty. Like we said, Mike is a real stickler, and Travis is like more just having fun, and the other guy whose name we can't remember is kind of somewhere in between the two.
Right. Yeah.
And they don't get along real well.
Yeah. Even though they're all friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the videographer guy who pops in and out.
Right. And he doesn't seem very black metalish.
He's super not black metalish, but he also doesn't seem like he's anybody's actual friend, like in the band.
He just wants to make a documentary.
Right, yeah.
Or shoot a video.
Right. Well, he does eventually want to make a documentary.
I think that's his thing. He wants to make films.
Yeah. So Travis basically starts becoming obsessed with Charlie Butters.
Right.
And he winds up going back into the forest later to try to find where they found his cabin. And he gets lost and injured, but he does eventually find it. Yeah. And, like, takes all the journals and, like, just starts reading them, but then also at the same time, you know, he kind of gets his shit together too.
Yeah. He kind of realizes he needs to move on a little bit.
Right. He gets a haircut.
Yeah. It's the first step.
Definitely a first step, yeah.
Even starts talking to a lady.
Yeah. So he discovers girls.
So yeah, what do you think these guys are probably, like, late 20s, early 30s?
I would say probably, early to mid 20s.
Yeah. Because one of them has an apartment at least.
Yeah. But, like, one of them still lives, Mike still lives with his parents.
That's true.
And, I mean, that can run the gamut between 20 to 40.
Yeah, sure, I've been there.
Yeah. Excuse me.
But yeah, and so yeah, Travis kind of moves away from the black metal aspect and starts focusing on his new obsession of the life of Charlie Butters, this eccentric painter from the 60s.
Yeah. And so he manages to rope the videographer guy into like helping him make a documentary about Charlie Butters. And they go out and film some stuff, and then there's still some conflict with the dudes in the black metal band.
Right. And they somehow managed to locate, I forget how, they managed to locate the widow of Charlie Butters and interview her for the documentary.
Yep.
And it doesn't go well.
It does not go very well at all.
Yeah. She's obviously feels very spurned because her husband, who, as she says, was never able to give them children, kind of goes a little nuts and disappears on her. And she admits that she believes he has some sort of mental problem. And they kind of question her about why she never had him treated.
Right.
And she gets upset and basically asks them to leave.
Yep. And then kind of where the book ends.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of cuts back to Charlie Butters, and it shows him kind of talking about his newfound freedom in the woods and like how every day he wakes up and he feels free. But it kind of makes you wonder, like, is he really free? Is he free of all these things that, were tormenting him in his, like, in his life in regular society, or is he just kind of ignoring them, but they're still there? Because obviously he's still connected to the world. The world is still following him around, and his ex-wife is still thinking about him. And
Right.
I don't know. You got a cat.
I do have a cat. Everything's better.
So, what'd you think of the story, though?
It's an interesting story.
Yeah.
I definitely have an interest in reading, part 2.
I do too.
But also I feel like, there could have been more to this book.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the entire story of Charlie Butters could have been condensed to this. I don't know. But
I like the fact that they had if it was just the Charlie Butters stuff, I think it could have been great. But I like the element of, like, these modern kids kind of finding
discovering it,
yeah.
And I like the characters, and Travis, like when he is introduced, he comes off as just like a dick,
Right.
and just like unlikable. But then, like, as he becomes more obsessed with Charlie Butters, he also becomes a lot more likable and a lot more relatable.
I totally agree. Yeah, I think early on I didn't like a single character in this book, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to play out.
Right.
But yeah, he sort of does kind of, when he kind of sheds his persona as just the black metal guy,
Right.
he kind of becomes a little more interested.
And the fact that he's, basically outs himself as being fairly anti-black metal, but, like, still willing to go along with it as long as they're just goofing off and having fun.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
definitely makes him a lot more likable to me as well.
I would probably stay in a band whose music I wasn't necessarily like the genre of music I wasn't that into if I was having fun.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so that's the thing too. So there's a lot of them just kind of arguing and talking at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think Zach Wharton has a really good knack for dialogue as far as just it's believable and it's interesting and it flows.
Yeah.
But the only thing negative I would say, other than like what we said before about the ending being not real complete or providing a sense of closure, like some of it got, maybe he was just trying to kind of show you how unlikable these characters are at the beginning, but there was like maybe like a 5-page argument that they had.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're all just unlikable and they're all just like whining and yelling at each other. And seriously, like I think I counted it and it was just 5 pages of that. And I was like, that could have been a page, maybe a page and a half at the most.
Right.
And we would have got the idea that, okay, these guys are not likable and they don't get along.
Right.
But it just kind of went on and on, but maybe that was the point. He was trying to kind of be belabored, like how annoying and aggressive and like ill-fitting they were as a band.
Right.
But it just kind of, that was the one scene I thought was way too long.
Right. Because ultimately, Travis, proves himself to be a pretty good guy. Because even though he's, pissed at Mike, he still winds up, like helping him out.
Yeah.
But then Mike is just like super.
He's just underappreciative.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because Mike basically gets drunk somewhere and gets arrested.
Yep.
And Travis bails him out and takes him home, but Mike gets mad because he just left him on his lawn.
Right.
And he's like, it was embarrassing. And it's like, well, you're kind of the one that got yourself into that situation.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, it's not easy to move a person.
Right?
Yeah.
That's true. And Mike's a big guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the characters are eventually turn out to be likable, and I think, Travis in particular. The third guy in the band,
I can't remember his name.
Made no impression whatsoever.
He was just kind of there because, Mike is
he's the antagonist.
Yeah, and the other guy's just kind of, I can't remember his name. He was just there. And every band I've been in, there's been one guy that's just kind of there. I was that guy in one of the bands. 23rd chapter. Cheers. But I love Zach Wharton's art. I absolutely love it.
I really liked it too, yeah. It's super cartoony, but it's also really detailed.
Yeah. Very cartoony, down to the fact that, the eyeballs are just, black circles.
Right.
And pointy noses and
yep.
Really, newspaper strippy, cartoony style. But there's a lot of hatching.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of, grime on the sidewalks and walls and stuff. He does a lot of detail. Yeah. The forest scenes are all just totally fleshed out detail-wise with the trees and the ground.
And every character looks unique. I never once got confused as to, which character I was,
right,
seeing or.
Even though they change.
Right, yeah. Because Travis cuts his hair and
Charlie Butters grows his hair.
Right. Okay, well, maybe that one guy looks a little bit like Travis after he cuts his hair.
Oh, is it the...
I think that's the videographer that
okay.
I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
But he's going bald and he wears a hat most of the time, so...
I really like the two drunk guys that were hanging out outside of the cafe. They were talking about Led Zeppelin lyrics.
Right.
I like stuff like that. It felt very, Coen Brothers-ish.
Yeah.
Just weird little quirky background characters. And you don't see enough black metal in comics. I mean,
no.
There's been 3 that I can think of, but...
The black metal trilogy?
So, what was the one we read?
I think it was called Black Metal.
Was it just called Black Metal? That was fun.
Yeah. That was a 3-volume graphic novel, so... Yeah. And then the Disappearance of Charley Butters. Those are the only ones I can think of. There's one that just came out recently. I think it's called the Beelzebubs or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's from what I looked at it, it appears to be sort of what if the family circus were a black metal family?
Wow. Wasn't there an issue of Batman Metal where he was in a black metal band? There should have been.
There should have been, yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. It was good.
No, okay.
I would read the other two.
I'm curious as to where the story is going and how the characters develop, if they do at all. And of course, the mystery of what's the fuck up with Charlie Butters.
Yeah. I mean, was he just simply crazy? I mean, because that would be kind of a letdown, I think, if it was just he just heard voices and, lived in the woods for a while.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's something else to it.
Right, like ghosts.
Ghosts? Right. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe his paintings were magical or something.
Maybe.
Whatever. I don't know.
You've never seen the first season of True Detective, have you?
I have.
You have? Okay.
Yeah.
Well then,
it was great.
Yeah, sure, I agree. There were a lot of people who were very disappointed that by the end it wasn't some sort of weird magical, supernatural serial killer.
Yeah.
And so, you're just gonna set yourself up for disappointment.
Well, his pain does not have to be magic. I just hope there's something more than just he was
Sure.
a little nutty heard voices, but it doesn't have to be supernatural.
No. Yeah. Maybe people are after him.
Yeah, and I wonder if he's still alive or not.
He could still be alive. It's possible. His wife is.
Right? Yeah. Good job, Zach Wharton.
Yeah. It's a fine book.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to, like I said, it's not like I know the guy and I haven't, followed his career forever,
Right.
but I have, just popped in on 3 different stages of his career.
Right.
And it was cool to see him
Progression.
get to this point. Yeah.
It's sort of like me and Farrell Dalrymple, I think. The first time I ever read a Farrell Dalrymple book, it was a printed on newsprint freebie that my friend and I got when we ordered samples from a printing company.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then, seeing him do Meat House after that, and then self-publishing Pop Gun War.
Right.
And then now he's doing image books.
Right. Yeah.
And graphic novels. And
yep. It's cool to see people.
Yeah.
So good work, sir.
Yeah. Disappearance of Charley Butters, pretty much recommended from us.
And that's from, is it Conundrum? I can't remember who does this. Who published it?
Marvel. DC?
Canada Council for the Arts.
Sound right.
Gauvin Press, maybe?
Okay, sure.
Printed by Gauvin Press.
Alrighty.
I don't see the word published by. It's got this symbol of, it's like a little pill with a swimmer inside of it.
Sure.
I thought that was Conundrum, but I don't think it is.
Is it on the back, on the spine?
I'm freaking out. No, the only thing is this.
Is it written in black metal font?
Maybe that's what. Oh, it is Conundrum. Conundrum Press.
Okay.
It's weird, wasn't it? Oh, published by Andy Brown at Conundrum.
Yeah.
There we go. Want to go burn it down a church or something?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. I mean,
it's clearly the fault of Zach Wharton and his fictional comics. So we can blame it on him.
I hope my bosses don't listen to this one. Let's take a break.
Welcome back to my dining room.
Hey, we are in your dining room.
I think this is only maybe the second time we've recorded here.
It's been a couple times, 4 or 5 maybe.
In the dining room?
Yeah, I think so.
I know we've done the basement.
In the basement once or twice. This may be like the 3rd or 4th time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. It's got a little bit of an echo.
A little bit. Yeah.
Acoustics. That's what they're called. In the biz.
It's like we're doing a live show with an audience of animals that don't give a fuck.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, like you've said, it's been months since we've recorded.
Yeah.
I've literally done nothing. How about you?
Done some stuff here and there, I guess. I got sick.
Yeah.
I'm still feeling the remnants of
It's
it.
lingering.
It's been a month and a half now.
That sucks.
Yeah. But neither of us had a nervous breakdown.
No.
Not this time.
And no comic conventions.
No.
Although we have one this weekend.
We do have one coming up, yeah. In just a few scant days.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
Hopefully. I'm not foreseeing much good coming out of it, but
It's the
see.
It's the annual Gem City Comic Con here in beautiful Dayton, Ohio.
Sure.
The convention center. The biggest show in our little area.
That is true. The one where we get the big names.
Yep. Like Ben Hobbs. And who else? You and Ben Hobbs?
I'll be there, yeah. Me and Ben Hobbs.
Yep. That's it.
I'm going to be hobnobbing.
Wow. Wow, that was great. No, yeah, like Chris Pacello is there. Michael T. Gilbert.
Yeah.
Which I'm more excited to meet him than even Ben Hobbs.
It's pretty exciting.
Kyle Holtz.
Yeah.
Is it Holtz?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Me neither. He's told me.
I
never remember.
I thought I've heard someone pronounce it Holt before.
Right.
And I was like, there's no L in there, and there's a Z at the end.
Right? Yes.
So I have no idea.
Me neither.
But he's amazing.
Yes, he is. That's something that happened. We've talked about him numerous times on the show. He's what some might call a local legend.
He's like our Nessie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is going to be drawing Batman.
Which is awesome.
That is fucking great.
Like 2 issues?
2 issues at least that we know of. Yeah.
Detective Comics.
The original Batman comic.
That's right. Number 1000 just came out.
I know, right?
Very recently.
I mean, this week, 1002 came out.
Yeah.
He's at least working on issues 1006 and 1007, which is also ridiculous to say.
Yeah. I know. I was like, I was reading off, because we were counting out the books this week, and I was reading off, I think it was Action number 1010 came out, and I was like, it just sounds weird to even say that.
Yes, it does.
For a comic book. I mean, I'm in the middle of issue 3 of Defenders, and I'm like, there's too many of those. Yeah. Who wants to read over 1,000 comics about Superman?
I mean, I like Superman, but I don't think I'd read 1,000 of them.
I'm okay with them as long as it's interesting, but I'm like, there can't be 1,000 stories to tell about that guy. I mean, I don't even, like, Batman is my favorite comic character ever,
right.
And I don't even know if there's really 1,000 Batman stories to tell.
There's really only 4 stories for each of those characters.
Right?
Yeah, and they just retell them over and over again.
Is it one for each season?
Yes.
For all seasons?
Superman for all seasons, and then Batman the Long Halloween.
Yeah. No, I am very excited. I've been watching the posts on Instagram from Kyle, and it looks great.
Yeah.
Like those rooftop scenes where he's like running from a rooftop, and there's like mist in the air, and like those water towers that are on roofs. Oh, I love roof water towers.
for me, like, I mean, it's no secret I love Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But I will always love B and lower characters, like from Marvel and DC, like way more than I love Batman or Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Like there's just something about like the underutilized and overlooked characters that like just really appeals to me more.
The ones that still hang on, but they're not like top tier.
Exactly. And the Spectre is probably in the top 5 of those for me at DC, and his 2-issue arc is guest starring the Spectre.
That is great.
And you can feel my boner from right here.
I can. Yeah. I won't, but I can.
You can.
If I decided to.
Yeah.
So if he did a Marvel comic, what would you love to see him do?
That's a good question.
Hellstorm. No, I mean, he did some Ghost Rider 2099.
Yeah.
But
it's not a character I love.
It's not a character, anybody loves. But Kyle's art has changed so much since then. I would love to actually see him do a Ghost Rider comic. Right. Like an actual, just, not 2099.
What about Cosmic Ghost Rider?
That'd be fine. Yeah. That book was fun. I read the first miniseries. I thought it was fun.
I don't know about Marvel, because I've seen him, because he's mostly worked for Marvel. Like, he has done very little DC work over his career.
Yeah. He did a Man-Thing series that was awesome.
Right.
That was beautiful.
The zombie series that he did was pretty good.
I never read that.
I mean, he did that one-shot Spider-Man book with Paul Grist that was pretty awesome.
Did he really?
Yeah. It was that weird gimmick where it was like, what do the comics in the Marvel Universe look like?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah. I read that.
Some Carnage books with Warren Ellis.
Right. Yeah, his style definitely lends itself to kind of like your darker, weirder stuff. Yeah. So, like, my mind goes to, like Man-Thing, Ghost Rider, like, stuff that he's done. Yeah. Maybe even, like, I could see him doing, like, Brother Voodoo.
I could see him doing that for sure.
That'd be cool.
Because, when I think about, like, my favorite Marvel characters, like, Daredevil tops the list, but, and he did some covers for the last couple months for, like, a miniseries.
Man, those were beautiful.
They were great covers.
The Man Without Fear miniseries.
Yeah, but, like, I didn't buy him because he was only doing the covers.
Was that what it's called? Or was it called Man With Fear? It was Man Without Fear, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
I can't remember. Yeah. Started with Man.
Yep. And Fear was somewhere in there.
Maybe it was Man or Astro Man.
Ooh, one of my favorite bands.
No, yeah, he's awesome. So,
I mean, like, I guess it would be cool to see what he would do with like Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd read that.
Yeah.
He's done
Hulk. He's done Hulk. Yeah. Recently, even.
Right. Yeah, it seems like he's already figured out the ones he should draw.
Right, yeah. But, like, I mean, over at DC, like, Spectre, the Demon, Dr. Fate would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, those would all be.
Yeah, I could see that.
Devil.
Yeah.
Heroes in Crisis.
I think you could draw a mean Wally West serial killer.
Sure. Spoiler.
But yeah, at Gem City, there's some decent artists there. There's honestly, I don't think anybody that I'm like, I gotta go meet this person. Like I really like Michael T. Gilbert, but he's the only person there who I'd kind of want to meet that I haven't met.
Right.
But I don't know. Like, I haven't read anything he's done in 20 years, but I remember loving Mr. Monster when I was a teenager. Like, I loved that book.
Mr. Monster's always appealed to me. I don't know. I would go see if he has anything for sale. Like, because I don't own anything that he's ever done. He did this. Maybe like a stray couple issues of Mr. Monster somewhere.
He did a Superman prestige format book. I actually saw it.
I do have that
in our back room.
I do have that. Man or Superman.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
I've got that somewhere. Again, it's all also a matter of my collection is a fucking mess, and I don't know where anything is. But Chris Bachalo for me is the guy that I'm looking forward to meeting.
He's pretty talented.
Yeah. he was supposed to be there last year, but his wife passed away shortly before the show, so he did not attend.
Understandably.
Yeah, that'd be a tough thing to do.
I'm actually kind of surprised he's because I feel like if that was a pretty traumatic event and it was like right before that show, it might be kind of like anxiety inducing to think about doing this show again. So thanks for coming back, Chris.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've read a bunch of stuff, but I don't know if any of it's worth talking about. I might actually pick a couple of the graphic novels if I run out of ideas here.
Right. I've been reading old X-Men, from the original run, the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Roy Thomas, Warner Roth run of X-Men.
Nice. Warner Roth?
Warner Roth.
Yeah. Don't know if I've ever heard that name before.
He was an artist.
Inker?
Artist.
Wow. He penciled some X-Men?
Yeah.
Never heard
after Kirby left. I believe initially he went by the pen name of, I want to say Dick Gavin.
Huh.
And then he eventually went by his real name because at the time I believe he was moonlighting at DC at the same time, and it was frowned upon to be working for both.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it still is.
Yeah, some people for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Are you reading them digitally?
Nope. In the Epic Collection format.
Nice.
And they're not good.
Are they at least well drawn?
No.
Yeah.
Like, even the Kirby ones, not good.
It's not his best work.
It is not. And so for the first six issues are just fucking terrible. And Magneto is the villain in 4 of those 6 issues.
Here he comes again.
And
it's not one giant story. It's
it's individual stories, yeah. Stan Lee, can't remember characters' names issue to issue. The Beast starts out as basically a Ben Grimm type character, just like the big dumb brute, and then eventually he starts getting slightly smarter.
Well, maybe he was reading up in his spare time, studying.
Yeah, he hasn't figured out the characters, he hasn't figured out what even the point of the X-Men is. It was just, we need a super team, and I'm too lazy to come up with how they got powers. So they were born with them. Excelsior.
Well, it turned out to be that's a great idea.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Kind of worked.
Yeah. So the first 6 issues are terrible. Issue 7 starts to see some upswing, Lee finally has some consistency with the characters and has almost figured out the metaphorical aspect of the X-Men. And Chick Stone started inking Jack Kirby.
Chick Stone's great.
And the art improves fucking drastically.
Yeah, I bet.
I can't remember who his anchor was on the first 6, but it was not good. There weren't backgrounds, the characters looked terrible. It was just thin and loose. And then issue 7, Chick Stone takes over, and it's this is Jack Kirby drawing this again.
Right.
Yeah. And Kirby is not one of those guys that you think of, needs an anchor to, get across Jack Kirby.
Right. Yeah. Maybe in, 63 or 64?
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe then they did a little. I don't know.
It's also the very least Jack Kirby comic of the Marvel era that Jack Kirby drew, right? There's no crazy machines or monsters or, aliens or anything like that. It's just,
It's true.
Yeah.
They're all in uniform.
Right, they all have the same uniform.
Even FF, they were all uniform, but they were outlandish backgrounds,
right, exactly.
Machines. And, Reed was always tinkering on some machine that was, as big as a building.
Right. Eventually they introduced Cerebro, which Stan Lee calls 4 different things in that issue. And it's just a helmet at his desk.
Oh.
And there's a monitor.
We gotta have a monitor.
Well, sure, of course, yeah. And then when Roy Thomas took over, it just became it's panels full of just words. with just tiny little drawings by Dick Gavin / Warner Roth.
Oh.
So it's amazing that the X-Men eventually turned into something that, became
Was quality.
the biggest comic in the world. Yeah.
Well, I've read the Ed Piskor Grand Designs.
Sure.
I enjoyed the ones that were about the Silver Age X-Men, but man, when he starts getting into like the Bronze Age stuff, like the Claremont, like that book is so good.
Yeah.
That Grand Design book.
So I started reading the first Epic Collection, which is like issues 1 through 23 of the X-Men. And I was also reading Grand Design. Particularly the first volume, which takes us all the way up to the Bronze Age and X-Men. And it is bizarre. A, how much better he makes it.
Yeah.
And B, how much he grabs from so many different places to like tell the X-Men as like an actual linear story.
Right.
Because clearly back in 1963 or whatever, they have no fucking clue.
Yeah. So he kind of Ed is changing some of the timeline and
Yeah.
some things that certain characters do. Maybe he attributes them to other characters.
Yeah.
But it makes it work.
Right. And it's definitely great.
He's so impressive because not only is he seriously like he's probably one of my absolute favorite artists working today. Like his style just, it looks like a cross between, I don't know, it reminds me of a few different people. It reminds me of Art Adams a little bit.
I can see that.
It reminds me of, I don't know, it reminds me of like EC Comics a little bit too. I don't know. He's got like this really great, dirty, cartoony style.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, but he's such a good writer too. That's the part that blows my mind. Is not only can he draw that way, but he's a pretty intelligent writer.
Yeah.
So good job, Ed.
Yeah. Little Eddie Piskor.
He's doing it right.
He is. I'm curious to see what he does after Grand Design is done.
Yeah.
Because I know he's still working on it, but he's almost done with it.
Right. I know he's going to do some sort of creator-owned thing because he's posted some cryptic posts on Instagram about it. Do you follow him on Instagram?
Not on Instagram, no.
So it's funny because he took a picture like a month ago. He was like, he had bought like 2 packs of blank note cards and some pens at Target. And he said, hey, the script for my new comic was available at Target today. Some assembly required. So I guess he like writes it all out on note cards and then does the thumbnails and gets it going. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does.
Yeah, definitely going to be interested. Although I wondered, like, I know 4 volumes of Hip Hop Family Tree came out. Like, is he done with that completely?
I think so. Because I don't think he was doing all the way up through the 90s. It was like through, I don't know, 90 or 91 or something. But yeah, I don't think he was doing the whole, like, modern, like, Run the Jewels and
Sure. I haven't read too much else. I wound up subscribing to Shudder, which is a streaming service that mostly only shows horror movies.
Yeah, okay.
Because Netflix has crap as far as horror goes, and most of it is like their own original crap,
Right.
Which I don't give a crap about. And can I say crap one more time?
In honor of Hellboy.
In honor of Hellboy, yeah. Which is now rated R, and he says fuck.
Nice.
I guess. I don't know. I have zero interest in seeing that new movie.
My interest is waning, but I kind of wanted to see it when I first heard about it. But
yeah, I saw the trailer and I was like, nope, this is not anything I'm interested in. So I've been watching a lot of Joe Bob Briggs. because he has a show on Shudder. So just a lot of terrible movies hosted by a fake redneck.
Right. That sounds like a good time.
It's pretty great. Yeah.
We're both still drawing, but we're working on random things.
Are we? Am I? I mean, you mentioned you're doing Defenders #3, final issue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing anything. It's like I draw a thing or two and then trash it immediately. I don't. I'm not working on anything.
Oh, you're in that. What do they call it? You're fallowing. That's where
What?
when farmers they treat the field in order to next year have a really great crop. They call it fallowing when they're not actually planting anything, but they're going to spend this season fixing that field up so whenever they do plant those seeds, they grow some motherfucking corn.
Okay, all right. I don't think I'm doing that either.
Okay. So you just reminded me of something when you said I was drawing Defenders. You just said Defenders.
Sure.
It reminded me.
Sorry, Defenders of the Planets.
That's right. But I'm glad you said that because today we bought a comic collection and there was a bunch of issues of Defenders from Marvel in there from the 70s. And have you read any of those ever? Like the Steve Gerber run from the 70s?
Not the old ones, no.
Okay. So do you know about the Elf?
Is it Pip the Troll?
No. So you might not believe this because I didn't know this until today.
Well, first of all, Steve Gerber was notoriously on drugs.
Well, yes. So there's an issue of the Defenders from the 70s. I want to say it's somewhere in the 20s or 30s. And there's just a panel where there's the action of the Defenders or whatever, and then it cuts to another scene and it shows this elf, and I'm talking it looks like a garden gnome. He's got green outfit with a little pointy red hat, and he's an elf and he has a gun, and he walks up and he just shoots someone and kills them, some human, just some random human, and he's like, ah, and he kills this person, and then it cuts back to whatever is really happening, and you're like, well, what the fuck was that about? And then the issue ends and it doesn't say anything else about the elf. And then 8 issues later, there's another scene like that where just in the background, something's happening and you see this elf run up and shoot another human and kind of laugh about it. And so by the time the second appearance of the elf happens, people are writing into the letters column and they're like, what is happening here? I understood the story, but what's with this elf thing? And Steve Gerber just won't say anything. He's very cryptic about it.
Right.
And then it happens a third time. The elf just kills another person. And he's never in more than 2 panels in any book that he appears in. And then Steve Gerber gets fired from the book, and I think Jerry Conway or somebody takes over.
Right.
And then to wrap it up, they have this epilogue. There's the story happens, and then I think it's issue 40 by this point. This epilogue happens where you just see this elf and he's walking and he sees this little girl and you're like, oh no, he's going to kill this girl. And all of a sudden he's crossing the road to get to this girl and this truck runs him over and then you see his hat fly over and then the elf is dead. And in an interview, I don't know if it was years and years later or whatever, but they asked Steve Gerber about it and they're like, what was that all about? Were you building to something? And he says the elf, it was about nothing. It was about just the random existence of humanity and how just fleeting and weird it is. He never had any idea of no plan, and it never was supposed to tie into anything. But it's so absurd that it's like, is it brilliant or is it just like him being a weirdo? Like,
right. Imagine a writer trying to get away with that now in a Marvel comic.
right? I mean, maybe if you're Grant Morrison or like your book is like kind of goofy, like Squirrel Girl or something.
Right.
But yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Like, look that up sometime.
I am so curious.
It's like the elf with a gun or the murdering elf or whatever. But it's from, like mid-70s Defenders. And he was only in like 4 issues.
Well, when the inevitable Defenders movie comes out, then hopefully they'll put out a True Believers of just the
all the elf
scenes. Yeah.
Yep. He'll be in the after credits thing, just killing someone. He'll kill Stan Lee.
Ooh.
Too soon. That's too soon.
Too. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another thing that's happened since the last time we got together.
Oh, Stan Lee died.
Oh no. The Captain Marvel movie came out.
Oh yeah.
With what I would imagine is his final on-screen cameo.
I think there was still 1 or 2 more, I think.
Okay, so maybe one in the upcoming Avengers Endgame.
That would make sense, yeah.
But my thoughts on Stan Lee have never been very guarded. I've said what I feel about the man on the show here.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my whatever she is, we went to see the movie, and like at the very beginning, there's like a tribute to Stan Lee, like before the movie even starts.
Oh, like the silent one that's just like in the word Marvel.
Yeah. And god damn it, if I didn't tear up.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't affect me that way.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have anything against them doing that, but it didn't hit me.
Right.
So
yeah,
it was a good movie though.
No, I enjoyed the movie a lot. I'm sorry that you don't have a soul.
I did like his cameo in the movie, like the actual movie. I thought it was funny. Good times.
Yeah. So, I guess I should pick a book.
Are we gonna do this? I thought we were just wrapping up.
Oh, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, I think I'm done for one more.
Okay, all right. So we're just playing it by ear.
Yeah,
per episode,
right?
Or we put one out once every 6 months.
Yeah,
all right. So I'm going to admit that part of the reason why I haven't really pushed to do a show is because I can't think of anything that I want to read. Even though I have stacks and stacks of books.
Right. I've seen them.
Yeah. But I think I figured out which book I would like to read for the next
I'm
show.
excited. I like reading comics.
I would like us to read Bandette, Volume 1.
Bandette.
Yes.
Who's that?
It is a book about a French thief named Bandette.
Okay. Yeah.
She's sort of a Robin Hoodish type character.
I'm down.
It's written by Paul Tobin, drawn by Colleen Cooper, who are a married couple.
Yeah.
And it was originally a digital-only book from Monkey Brain Press, and Dark Horse put out some collections.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Sweet.
Bandette. So Dark Horse has it.
Yes. I believe the first volume is called Presto.
Okay. Nice.
Don't know for sure. I forgot. I can see it, but I could be making shit up.
Well, that sounds cool.
All right.
I like thieves.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, it was nice to do this again.
It was.
Hopefully we can do it again before winter comes.
Winter is coming. Game of Thrones, baby.
Oh, that's what that's from.
I guess
I've heard that before.
Speaking of Kyle Oates, I pulled a real dick move on him on Facebook today.
Oh no, what'd you do?
He threw out a question. Name your 3 favorite Game of Thrones characters. And so I said Blitzen, Gimli, and Curly.
Did you respond?
Yeah.
Okay.
with a GIF.
Nice.
Yeah, of someone just rolling their eyes.
Hey, that's the response.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we had fun talking to him at Gym City Comic Con.
Well, maybe we'll find out next time.
Yeah.
Well, if we remember.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Sweet. Well, good night, everyone. Thanks for coming back to us.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't be as long.
Probably not. Alrighty. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Gutter Trash. You can subscribe to the show from guttertrash.net or from iTunes and leave us a review. Visit guttertrash.net for email information and for other podcasts and websites in the Gutter Trash Network. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.